this show is not just about us having a grandstand to try and get paid more. I really want to make that very clear.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
I
no,
also want to make it clear is
not
that
at all.
this doesn't benefit, like what I'm saying right now doesn't benefit me. It only hurts me. But I hope that it helps someone else, some of these other commentators that are trying to make their way forward. If I had to burn a bridge so you guys can get fucking paid, so be it. I'll go do something else. I'll kiss my chances in Valorant goodbye, and I wish you all well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way things, like,
I miss
someone
you,
has to
Uber.
fucking do this, man. First of all, we saw a tweet from Dust. Dust Moray, obviously he's working with Vince.
Yeah.
It was Vince's first. So when I saw this, I was like, "What? This is a joke, right? This isn't actually real." It is real, apparently. So Dust and Vince, obviously great duo in Counter Strike, and they've been really good in Valorant. Dust says it seems like Vince and I can't duo for the VCT due to region locking. We put in a lot of time already as a duo in Valorant over the last few months and have done several jobs together and done well based on the feedback we've gotten. Hopefully things change. And I'll give them some feedback as well. You guys are pretty good. Dust obviously elaborates on this a little bit later on sort of Reddit. This isn't Nerd Street's issue from what I understand. Obviously, Nerd Street would like to sort of work with them, providing they don't charge too much. But you know, they can't use them because of their regional differences.
Yeah.
This isn't just these guys. A good example is the I Hold Shift and Ryan Central combination as well, who sort of work together. Avril, someone I casted a Valorant tournament with. Now, yeah, so basically all of Avril's casting has been NA, and he theoretically can't cast NA VCT. Now let's just before I lose my fucking mind, let's just step back from this for a moment and ask ourselves why. And rates is not an issue. Well, maybe not for you, mate. Maybe not for you, big fella.
That's your rate.
Yeah. So let's take a step back and ask ourselves why Riot might institute a ruling like this. Why would they region lock talent? Can we give them the benefit of the doubt for a moment?
Well, I mean, the only reasoning behind it is because I know Simo did it and a few other people did it as well. They would cast games that was just way out of their time zone overnight. And I actually remember, I forgot what event it was. I remember seeing complaints on, it was either Reddit or Twitter, where they were saying, don't do this again. The casters look tired. Get people from those regions. And then that wasn't too long ago as well. I would like to believe that was about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, wasn't he and Mitch doing like an event in like like Taiwan or Thailand?
I don't think it was him though. I
shit?
think it was another pair, but still, those conversations were happening. And Riot, they have eyes everywhere. They're watching.
I think it goes maybe further than that too, as to like, you know, you have the Masters that's coming. We're celebrating regions right now for the game. So you have your North American regions, you have your European regions, you have your OCE regions, and stuff, and Brazil. I think at the same time, you're maybe trying to make sure that you kind of like build the talent for the region as well. I know it kind of, it's a hot take and it sucks. But I think at the same time, maybe they just want to keep like NA, EU. I mean, Veli, if you look at Rainbow Six, currently you don't have the guys doing NA and EU at the same time, right? For Pro League.
But that's vastly different for the same reason that Rainbow Six isn't as mature when it comes to the level of talent. That's not disrespect to my colleagues. They're the shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I fucking love them. But like, they don't have the depth and the history as people like me, you, and Uber. And, you know, you take a look at Sideshow, like, you know, he came over from, like, there's a lot of people in NA right now from Overwatch, from all these different games they're trying to commentate. And the casting pool right now for Valorant is fucking insane. But the casting pool for Europe is not as competitive. There's a small group of people. And so when there's bloodshed when it comes to, you know, these caster wars that's happening behind the scenes, yes, it is happening. NA kind of gets cucked. And it's really rough. I expressed this concern a while ago before I did First Strike, and I said, you know, I'm really interested in Valorant. I want to do more events, but the opportunities just aren't there. They're not. Like, Uber, how fucking hard is it for you to get up there, man?
Well, do you know how hard is it for me to cast Valorant? Well, my issue is that my rate floor is too high. So I'll say this right now. Obviously, I've been trying to work Valorant events for a little bit. And obviously had the great opportunity to work with Nerd Street Gamers and Cloud9 on the To the Skies tournament. Unfortunately, it was for a debut, it was fun, and they were able to pay my rate. But I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm too expensive to use for NSG right now. And
Isn't
I
that
really,
an issue
I
though?
love those guys. Well, it is an issue for me, yeah, but I'm not gonna. It's not all about me, but it's a budgets issue. You know, I have lowered my rate by 66%, and it still seems to be a little bit too high. That's fine. That's another whole story. But yeah, it's difficult for me to get stuff. But I mean, I'm not region locked because it's about residence, right? So I reside in the United States, so I would be able to do US stuff. I think it may be a immigration issue as well. If Riot want to build up talent in those particular regions, they don't want to have to deal with like trying to get an EU caster to NA or whatever. That might be a bit of an issue. But Avril's a good example of this. Now, this has been reversed since. So Avril is an Oceanic resident. He's from New Zealand. He resides in New South Wales in Australia. He's been casting a lot of NA Valorant, right? His rate floor is too high to get work in Oceania. Why the fuck do you think I left Oceania in the first place? Because it was just impossible to get gigs. Like I was working at a pharmacy and doing it on the side, but when I decided I wanted to transition into a career commentator, I had to leave, right? But, I mean, Avril is already doing ridiculous hours late at night to try and cover NA games, and he's done a fantastic job. So good on him. But basically, he would be prevented from casting NA events because he resides in Oceania, but he would also be prevented from doing Oceania events because his rate floor, as in as low as his rate goes, is still too high for this fucking chump change in Australia. I guess it's not just Australia is giving chump change. We'll get onto that in just a second. That's been reversed. There was a special exception made. I have a great solution for this complicated issue, right? Reverse the fucking decision. I do not know if there is a good reason for this or not. I can't really think of one either way. But you are right. You are not kingmakers of casting duos. Casting duos should be able to choose one another. And if the community chooses them, then you respect that decision and you support them in continuing to grow as a duo. We choose who we work with. I don't want to see a fucking redo of this League of Legends thing where you just mix and match casters and you control the means of production. You have the power because you decide who goes with you and you can split up talent. There is, as far as I can tell, there's not a great reason for this. I think the idea of people looking tired when they're casting, fuck off. Like, sorry, it's a caster's decision to do that. Yeah, it's not. That's not a great reason. I mean, you have a Dustin, you have a Vince combo who want to work together, who people want to work together, and now they're sort of unable to do so. Vince doesn't have a casting partner in EU. Like he hasn't cast EU because, you know, Banks and Mitch, Banks mentioned that Riot don't want to hire him. That's another story. He can talk about that. You know, there's a whole mix of different talent in EU, but I haven't really seen, you know, Vince get involved. Is there any guarantee that he'll get work in Europe? All we know is that he won't get work in North America. So that's, I don't like this at all. I don't understand why it should happen. I think every top sort of broadcast talent would say that this is absolutely absurd. I'd love to hear the reason for it. And maybe there's something that we can get behind, but right now, all it seems to do is make things a little bit harder. And I mean, the concept of region locking is very foreign. It's very new. It doesn't like look at, I'm talking to Ryan Central. Why the fuck do you think he casts NA? Don't you think that if he could cast European Valorant for any sort of acceptable rate, he would fucking do it? Don't you think this guy would love to not be up at 4 a.m. trying to put out a solid product as a broadcaster? If they could do it, they would. They can't, so they do what they can, and now they're being shut down from actually the hustle that they're demonstrating to go and cast some Valorant. So I understand there could be travel complications and stuff like that if it's related to immigration. Fine, but figure it out because it's been done before in the past. Just figure it the fuck out. You know, as far as I understand as well, there's no hurry to do LAN events, maybe some studio events, but it's not hard to get out to Europe. If I need to be flown out to Europe, you know, I can say this publicly. You know, Blast were looking to work with me. I was going to go to Copenhagen and do some stuff with them. Right, that was still an option. That was possible. It would have been a little bit difficult, but it would have been able to be workable. So that's unacceptable. I don't think that. I think that the casters deserve an explanation, right? I know Riot people sometimes hang out in this chat, and I know maybe I've driven them away from how vehement I am with some of my opinions, but guess what? I'm here to say, motherfuckers, I would like these casters. You don't have to do it publicly, but at least explain to these casters why they're getting split up. I don't want this coming secondhand from Nerd Street Gamers being like, sorry, we can't use the two of you together. It's not acceptable, all right? We are already seeing enough stuff this week that devalues the trade of casting, and I'm getting really sick of it. I have spent 10 years trying to work alongside like-minded individuals in casting to elevate the practice and to, and to elevate the institution of esports broadcast, and to see it shit on like I have this week is starting to fucking piss me off. And that actually leads on to our next topic before I lose it too much. Anyway, any more thoughts on region locking though before we move on?
I just want to add that I think that if it's going to be about the regions and the logistics of flying and studios and stuff like that too, I think the plans aren't going to be until like the third Masters or even the Champions, right? So at least from now until then, like if you're given the opportunity for these duos to like want to work together and get some events, because if you're splitting them up rather, they're still going to have to try to find work in their region. And look at it from Dust's perspective, and look at it from even me. Like I'm not getting. I've done First Strike and everything too, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to do all the events. I still don't know what's coming up this next weekend, right? I don't even know if I'm doing challenges this weekend or not.
Motherfucker, you work every week. Shut up, man, silly.
I work every week streaming fucking 14 hours, man. That's all I'm fucking doing, man. Does it put food on my table? Not right now.
No.
And I don't have a real-time job right now, right? I'm actually gambling a lot into 2020 and 2021 to see if I could do it for the fifth time. For the fifth fucking time, to see if I could make a career out of casting. And every single time it's been like I've been having doubts with myself to say, am I actually good enough? Is there a reason why I wasn't able to do like getting into the circuit for Counter-Strike, for example, when I've been casting that game since 2002? Is there a reason why I'm not conditioned to look into like studio work for anything that's going to happen in the future because I'm Canadian? Like all these questions are coming through my mind, and while this is happening, I'm still getting fucking old at the same time too. I got fucking shit to pay. I'm married now. I need to settle down, and it's always been like my biggest fear going into esports. And as I come back in 2020 and I've done a few events, Veli says, yeah, I'm doing every single event over the summertime. Did I get paid for some of the events? No. So the issues coming in from 2002, 2003 are still fucking here in 2020, 2021. So there's such a big fear, at least for me, where people think I'm maybe like a tier 1 caster or whatever for fucking Valorant. But at the same time, it doesn't make me comfortable because I still don't know the consistency of my finances right now.
Yes, and that goes into the point I want to make. It's gonna be real quick, Uber. Like
you're good.
now that this is all like registering and digesting right now, and I'm starting to understand it more, it's pointless. Region locking is pointless. There's literally no pros and just all cons, right? If you want to develop talent in a region, click on their Twitter bio and take a look at where they're from. I actually there's a reason why I don't cast, and I stopped casting about a year ago because I temporarily retired from casting because I wasn't with my duos anymore from Gears of War. I just didn't want to do it because I felt like the quality I would bring without casting with the people that I was best with wasn't worth damaging, who I am, my brand, my product that I put out there. Let them work with their friends. Let them work with their duos. And if you want to really build up talent, tell them you want them. Work with them. It's as simple as that, in my opinion.
Okay, so let's move on just a little bit here. I want to preface this next topic. So we're going to talk a little bit. Let's just show the tweet. Can we throw out the tweet here? This is something else I saw in the casting world this week. So Nerd Street Gamers, for the first day of the VCT, it was the qualifiers, right? I think you're the next big voice in Valorant. Waiting for your opportunity to showcase your talents will wait no longer. Join us for the first NSG Community Caster Challenge, and you can click there and sign up. This was also alongside Nerd Street sort of putting out an application form to do a watch party. So, and there was actually a vote here. So we have 3 casting pairs who managed to get into this thing, and people were told to vote for their favorite duo. Right. So essentially, the premise was that the duo that was voted for would get to cast the closed qualifiers. They have an opportunity. So these 3 duos obviously put themselves out there and put themselves under community scrutiny for a chance to get their break, which is good on them. I can see the hustle. This is not okay. Nerd Street Gamers, I want to preface this by saying I've been looking to work with them, with Bok and with the rest of them. There hasn't been a great opportunity for me to get involved in Valorant casting with Nerd Street Gamers outside of the one event, and I understand there's actually a bunch of reasons for this. And and I understand that what I'm about to say might burn those bridges, but I had to accept that because what I'm seeing is not okay. If you don't have the budget for a broadcast, don't fucking broadcast the games. do not cheapen the value of the trade or the industry of esports broadcasting by throwing people into a Sarlacc pit in order to get your games broadcasted. Don't for 1 minute think that I can't see through the fact that you just couldn't afford to pay people to cast those games on that day. It's one thing you can hide behind this sort of charitable idea by giving these guys a chance to compete, but this caster competition, this fucking cockfight, if you will, is no substitute for developing talent. You're not developing this talent at all. Here's what you're doing. You're putting them in a position where they need to pander to the fucking public, who, by the way, don't really understand what makes a great commentator.
They don't care that much.
To get their chance, right? Nothing about the hustle or grind. It's like, do people vote for you in this Twitter poll? And you know what this does? Not only does this sort of cheapen the idea of what it is to be a professional top flight broadcaster. Obviously, bear in mind, professional broadcasters were dissuaded. They were discouraged from applying for this kind of thing, and I can understand why. Fuck me though. At least I would have got to cast some Valorant. You know what I mean? If I'd got involved in that, you're cheapening the value of esports broadcast. I think right now, personally, that the level of Valorant, I'm gonna say it, the average level of Valorant broadcasting is low. It's actually pretty poor. Casting in Valorant is not great right now, and that is my opinion. But compared to the size of Valorant esports, it's very low. Sideshow said this very well. I'm going to quote him. Compared to the age of Valorant as an esport, it's about right. It sucks because there are a fucking line of top flight AAA esports commentators who want to get involved and want to lend their talents and their passion to Valorant, and they're being glossed over right now. There's no opportunity for them. Golden Boy, Puckett, myself, Veli, and many others that you don't even know about want to be involved and don't have that opportunity right now. And you know, there's a lot of people that we can blame for that, but that's fine. Don't pretend. You don't have the fucking budget to pay casters. That's fine, but then like you're making these guys work for free. The casters you pay, NSG, are already getting paid far less than industry standard rate. They are forced into undercutting the community because they have no choice, because they want these opportunities. And now, guys, some of you are in the chat. I know how much you're getting paid. I know how much you're getting paid. And I can tell you, and you know it's not enough. Van Silly, how many times have you taken a rate less than what you should be paid to work Valorant recently?
Pretty often. I'll leave it at that.
This is unacceptable. I don't know who decides these budgets. I would assume it's the tournament organizer that decides these budgets, right? Because what happens is you got to write and say, hey, we're one of the people that want to run your event. Here's how much it's going to cost you. Here's the breakdown, and here's what it's going to do. So Riot are complicit in this as well.
Yeah.
All right? These people are being underpaid. And I tell you, if you want to know what the industry rate is, fucking DM me. I've said this once before. DM me. You want to know the industry standard rate? I will tell you. I've told multiple of you, and some of you are still doing this because you have no choice. So I'm really not blaming you casters to a great degree, but you know, like I just keep hearing budgets. We don't have budgets. We don't have budgets. Where's the budgets, right? So I'm not calling any casters out in particular, but we see straight through this community caster challenge bullshit. All right, you don't have the budget. Don't stream the games and then suffer the consequences. We don't have people like, you know, I can't like the system is broken and you're contributing to it if you're a tournament organizer that is paying peanuts. I have spoken to multiple top level esports commentators that cannot get involved in Valorant, even though they're not really doing anything right now, even though the rate's not even that high. I know a guy in Europe right now who is having to downsize a lot of his life because they can't get involved in esports in Valorant because the budgets aren't there. Sort your shit out. I expect better from you, especially when the people that are choosing how to pay the casters are casters themselves and should know better. Fucking shame on you. Do better.
Can I add my 2 cents?
Go for it.
I feel like this damages Valorant and is the opposite of productive to Valorant. It's a detriment to Valorant. No disrespect to Sully and Upmind. I actually DM'd both of them this morning and I said, you know what? I want to give you guys props. You guys went out there and you guys did what you did and crushed it. Keep it up. Keep improving. Like, I hope they have a beautiful career. But you know what? They casted for free. They casted a tier 1 quality level game for free. And what does that do? Number one, I had a friend that used to work for free. And guess what that did for his day rate? It fucked it. Mitch, how long have you been fighting to make these day rates where this is a respectable career path to where you can live comfortably. You don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. You've probably fought for this for over a decade. I've been fighting for this for over 2 years because
I want to put it. I got lucky, to be honest,
yeah,
because like I work with Blizzard, and it's never been an issue. I'm actually like, this doesn't benefit. Fighting for better rates, I guess, might get me some more Valorant work, but like, there's every chance I just go back and work the Overwatch League, who I've had a great working relationship with and have treated me well, and I can feed my kid.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
God, if I didn't have an Overwatch League, I'd be fucked, mate. You know,
But this
I'd
is
have to go back.
this is the thing though. Like I hear what you're saying with that, but now, so we talk about money, we talk about you taking care of a kid in your family, right? So like this is real life. This isn't just we want to cast a better game. So we had a tier 1 quality level game that was cast by Selling Up Mine. No disrespect to them, but you know what? For games like that, if you really want to put Valorant on the map at the highest level, you bring in your A team. You bring in your A team, and they will take the game places. And I'm not saying that Selling Up Mine would never be capable of doing that, but let's be honest, like, yo, like the Golden Boys and them out there, they give you a fucking experience like any other. Better than even I would do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing.
brings back Valorant.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, in Europe, you have a full fucking stage and setup. Like everybody has desks and like it's legitimate. They bring in their A talent. Even though the level of competition there isn't shit compared to NA, their production and value of events, in my opinion, is just so much better. Then when you tune into NA, it's like amateur. Yeah, it's like amateur events with tier 1 teams, and like that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I personally have nothing against Nerd Street except the fact that I'm kind of angry that I'm not angry. I'm disappointed that this is how things are looking right now, but it shouldn't be this way. We fought hard to make a livable wage, and we have been you guys have been fighting hard to make Valorant a quality FPS in the esports scene, and this isn't helping either of those points.
Yeah. I would also argue it's a perception problem as well, really quickly, because obviously the VCT, like Challenges, is not supposed to be the top level of Valorant competition in the long term, right? It's supposed to be like a way into Masters. It's not it's not the polished, the shiny, the tier 1 Valorant esport. But right now, it is, because there isn't anything above that, right? We haven't had Masters yet, outside of First Strike maybe, but all the top teams are competing in Challenges right now. So we get this sort of weird issue where like production isn't being emphasized that heavily, even though the top teams and the best games are happening. Maybe I think as we sort of filter to like, you know, when we get Masters and maybe sort of Challenges becomes the domain of those tier 2 teams, and maybe people don't expect such a high standard of quality for broadcast and for commentary. You know, maybe it's a sort of a different story, right? So that is, I will say, that is one thing. Like back when before Overwatch League, Contenders was the top level of broadcast, and I was involved in Contenders, and that was like, you know, we were like, man, Contenders could be so much better, and then Al happened, and it all sort of filtered up there. Look, I don't want to get into this too much. This is an issue, and obviously because we're cast, we can sort of speak to this one specifically. This show is not just about us having a grandstand to try and get paid more. I really want to make that very clear. And I also want to make it clear is that this doesn't benefit, like what I'm saying right now doesn't benefit me. It only hurts me. But I hope that it helps someone else, some of these other commentators that are trying to make their way forward. If I had to burn a bridge so you guys can get fucking paid, so be it. I'll go do something else. I'll kiss my chances in Valorant goodbye, and I wish you all well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way things, like, someone has to fucking do this, man.
No, it's legitimate. It's kind of sad, but you know, like we have a really fun topic after this, but this is something that has to be considered. I hope that this isn't the level of standard that's going to happen for the rest of the year, because honestly, NA Valorant is not going to peak the way it should.
The thing, and I want to give my 2 cents about my words too, right? So for me, like I am always going to be grateful about like the CLGs, Miss Harvey, and Nursery Gamers that helped me get to where I am today, because I love casting esports and I love this game for Valorant, and they've given me all the opportunities in the fucking world to be able to do this, and thanks to them, I'm able to get First Strike. So I'm forever grateful for that too. The thing that's tough for me right now is, again, trying to figure out how things could work financially for me. And when you're looking at it, it seems as though it's okay to have up and comers. We're like devalued in a sense with the amount, because I've been doing this for 19 years, Mitch, right? So I've put blood, sweat, and tears into like developing my casting style. But sometimes in now 2020, it's okay to me being devalued to have other people that are aspiring to be commentators to do like the bigger matches. And when I'm looking at the VCTs or the open qualifiers and stuff like that too, I'm all for it, man. Like I'm into the growth of building the next generation of casters. Don't get me wrong. This is why my DMs are always open, and I do these VOD reviews, and I give you guys my takes and my advices and stuff like that on what I've learned in my experiences. But now that I'm also in a place where I'm trying to make this a full-time career again. And for example, you were saying here, Mitch, there's a potential that you have something in the back of your hand or in the back of your pocket, so that you still have consistency in workflow and cash flow. Veli, you have Rainbow Six right now with the NAL and stuff like that too, so you have cash flow. I'm currently right now in between trying to make my name somewhere. And I'm hoping that could be in Valorant right now, so I could be in that scene and have that thing in my back pocket too. But to get there right now, where I'm kind of stuck, is like, I can't give my full rates, but I also don't want to miss out on certain things because I love casting the game.
So fuck you, right?
So we're
Fuck you.
we
Well,
can
you're
lose
eating,
you.
You're eating
That's what
fucking
you're
instant
saying.
noodles now, bro.
Yeah.
You're
Instant
saying
noodles and fucking water, mate.
you're on first strike, and we could lose you because it's not sustainable to like not work and spend Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays casting a game for less than minimum wage if you really average it out. Like
I mean,
that's we can lose you. We can lose first strike talent, tier 1 talent because of that.
and the reason, but here's the thing though, for a lot of the people in like the tier 1 scene and stuff like that too, if you're looking at GB or Puckett and stuff like that too, they're kind of like a jack of all trades, right? Because for them to be able to make not necessarily ends meet, but to have a good career in esports and with the tenure that they have to dip into multiple games, which is totally fine. But the thing is, for me, is I strongly believe that if I want to be the best in Valorant in terms of casting, I only want to absorb Valorant, right? I only want to do content reviews, create stuff only around Valorant because I care about this community and I care about this esports. But the thing is, we can't really have that many events either for Valorant right now because they're kind of scarce. If you're looking outside of VCTs, there's nothing really else going around besides the Nursery Gamers Monthly, which I think and strongly believe that should be the events for definitely for the up and coming casters that want to make a name out. I think that is a great platform for that, and I'm 100% on board for that. But if not, I think I have to make those decisions to say, look, I have to bring my rates down so that I can actually still survive and hopefully make it into that sense where I can make that salary or secure that bag, I guess, in Valorant in the end. And I'll leave it at that because I think we need to move on.
Yeah. We got J-Mo waiting for us here, and I'll just say this really quickly. Obviously, I mean, I'm trying to get involved in Valorant. I was willing to, I had a pretty cushy thing with Al. There has to be a reason why I'd want to be involved in Valorant. It's because I believe in it, right? I could just go back and collect the same fucking paycheck and mail it in at Overwatch League if I wanted to, but this is something I care about. So yeah, keep that in mind. And if you're a caster, just really try and talk to each other. If you're tournament organizers, God, I expect so much fucking more from you, mate. If this keeps happening, this is going to get worse for me.